Honorable Rosie Jackson. Honorable Councilmember Khalid.
Present.
Mr. Mayor, you do have a quorum.
Can I get a motion to close the executive session?
I make a motion to close executive session.
Properly moved and second. All those in favor? That passes. We now have our invocation, pledge of allegiance by our chaplain.
For those of you that would like to stand, will you stand with me? Let us pray. Dear gracious God, we come tonight asking for your grace and your mercy, your blessings to fill this room. Touch our hearts, our minds, and our souls, for much has been said, much has been done. More will be said, and more will be done. But your grace is always sufficient. You created us that we could be like you. You love us. Teach us to love like you love us. You have mercy upon us. Teach us to have mercy as you have upon us. Teach us to do those things that you have assigned in our hands to do. And may everything we do and everything that we say represent this great city, the city of South Fulton. This we pray. Let us all say amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated.
Mr. Clerk.
Next on the agenda is presentation and announcements. City of South Fulton Renaming Committee report.
Point of order, Mr. Mayor.
Public comments.
What is your point?
We haven't approved the consent agenda or the regular meeting agenda for this meeting.
And we need public comments.
Mr. Clerk, is the consent agenda on this here?
Yeah, typically the way the agenda's been set up, presentations and announcements contains any type of presentation to council. The next item on the agenda is the adoption of the consider council agenda. So I think the agenda was set up consistent with proclamations, presentations, things of that nature. So that's why the renaming committee was placed in this location.
Okay. Call the item. Again.
Next item was City of South Fulton Renaming Committee report.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Linda Pritchett, and I am the chair of the City of South Fulton Renaming Task Force. I would like to introduce, our introduction is that the City of South Fulton Renaming Committee Task Force was formed by Resolution 2019-48. It was sponsored by Mayor Edwards, Councilwoman Helen Willis, and Mayor Pro Tem Mark Baker. The committee members were appointed by each council member, assigning 2 members per district. Currently, we have 8 members. We have 12 members that were appointed. We currently have 8 members. There were no appointments made from District 5, and we currently have a vacancy in District 4 and District 6. The committee officers were elected, and the committee members are as follows. Myself as chair, Ms. Cangelin Dexter is the vice chair, Mr. Anthony Fulton is our interim secretary, and Mr. Keith Perry is our parliamentarian. We also have committee member Doris Clark. We have committee member Ms. Alma Hill. we have committee member Mr. Michael McCoy. And Lynette, come on. The purpose of this committee is for resident representation in naming the city, and that is in the best interest of the general welfare of the city, its residents and the general public. The committee's duties will follow the resolution, which is to establish a plan of action with anticipated costs for the accomplishing of the process of engaging residents in the city to rename the city, to confer with the city manager, the finance director, to discuss necessary budgeting for the proposed action plan. Once the proposed action plan is approved by the city council and prior to June the 30th, 2020, we would initiate the process of bringing forth a presentation of the results of 5 names from the residents to vote on in November 3rd, 2020. One of the mandates that was asked of us by Councilwoman Willis was to find out the process of placing names on the ballot in November 2020 for referendum. We were told that 2 names can be placed for the referendum, so the city manager who attended one of our meetings informed us that one of the names on the ballot would be the name South Fulton. However, although the resolution is vague as far as it asks for 5 names for us to submit to you all, because there's only 2 names that would be on the ballot, and it was kind of vague. It's to the discretion of the council if you choose to amend the resolution to narrow it down to those 2 names, or we would just continue with the 5 names. Yes.
One clarifying thing,
Yes.
not one of the names that was on the ballot. So remember, if you selected 5 names, you asked could one of them be South Fulton?
Yes.
And what you stated was a little different than that.
It
You said
sounded
one of the names on the ballot. I just wanted to clarify that because they take you as reference.
Thank you. And next will be Vice Chair.
Yes. Hello.
Hello.
All right. Okay, so let's talk about the resident engagement plan, which is why we are here. Okay, so one of the things that we thought that we needed to do was actually create a theme for the resident engagement plan. And so we as the committee came up with your city, your voice, your vote. Because essentially that's what the resolution says. They want the actual residents of South Fulton to come out and actually submit those individual names. One of the things that we must do is define, or what we did was define what a resident is. And a resident is defined as individuals living within the city limits. So the age that we decided that we would use, because we want to make sure that we get all of our youth involved in this as well, because they live with their parents, that would be resident engagement. We want the residents' actual age limit to be 16 years or older. So here's the proposed plan. We're going to have approximately 6 public hearings, and then essentially from those hearings, which you'll hear about what we're going to do with those hearings in a few slides, we're going to have the top rated 4 names, and then of course with the city of South Fulton being the 5th name. So here's the continuation of the engagement plan, which includes resident communication. How are we going to actually get the word out? Well, we have different mediums by which we're going to actually get the word out. Official city mailer, advertising on the city's website and newsletter, individual council members' websites and newsletters, as well as their electronic distribution newsletters. We also would like to have a Facebook fan page, Your City, Your Voice, Your Vote. Also want to make sure that everyone knows about the public hearings on Nextdoor app. We want to have a media press release, public service announcements, as well as, if the budget allows, billboards, definitely flyers, letters to the clergy, and HOA and community organizations. So let's talk about the public hearings and what exactly will occur during those public hearings. So essentially, the public hearing is a way for the residents to come out and get information with regards to the actual engagement plan, how they can submit their names. So we will be having up to 6 or 7. We're still trying to define how many actual hearings. We've got some tentative locations, which are neighboring schools, high schools, as well as 2 churches that we've selected. In addition to that, the actual hearings will primarily be in the evening, the majority of them, but we will have 1 hearing that will be on Saturday, because we realize we want to engage our seniors and anyone that can't come to those hearings during the week. So during the actual hearings, we actually have an agenda, because we just don't want our residents to show up and not have anything to listen to. So we will be, during those hearings, actually explaining the resolution in a simplified manner, giving them the history, and then ultimately providing them a way to submit their names. That's essentially what we're here for. We'll have the name submission criteria, a little Q&A, and then essentially at that point, the residents will have an opportunity to submit their names at the hearing, or they have up until May the 30th to then submit their names. So I'm going to let Ms. Linda talk about the registration process, and I'll be back to talk about the selection process.
The citizens will have 4 ways to participate in the resident engagement plan. Residents will be able to register electronically by attending a public hearing. We have talked about the idea of having kiosks. We have also talked about the idea of having a city landing page for this process, where residents can go on the page and register as well as submit names. Residents can also visit City Hall to cast their name selection. Also, residents can complete their registration to form the name submission and have that mailed to them. Citizens will also call a dedicated city number to request a registration form and a form to be sent to them to be able to submit names. Residents can register by providing their name, address, phone number, email, and district number.
All right, so let's talk about the selection process of the actual names. So the idea is, once we have these public hearings, as well as the individual, well, 3 ways, 4 ways, including the public hearing, we will have essentially all of those individual submissions will come together and be on a master database. Once that master database is essentially created, then we will begin the sorting process and the tabulation of all names submitted. And we need to make sure that it's important that you all understand that we did allow and or call for the City of South Fulton to be one of the 4 names. The last day for the resident to submit the actual name is May the 30th. Again, May the 30th. So let's look at our timeline. So during the month of December, obviously, which we're in now, getting ready to close out, and part of January, ideally, the committee will be logistically planning the actual individual public hearings, creating the landing pages and all those mediums that I talked about with regards to the communications. January the 21st is when we want to solidify our schedule for the public hearings. We are looking at the 1st or 2nd week of February for the actual first hearing to commence, and then we will have between February and April, all the public hearings will occur. On May 1st, we will begin tabulating and collecting and sorting all of the names that were submitted. May 30th is the last day for a resident to submit a name. June 30th, essentially between May 30th and June 30th, we've given ourselves that deadline to present to the council 5 names. In July, the council will essentially take those 5 names that was presented by June 30th and select 2 names to be placed from an election perspective, to be placed on the election ballot for November the 3rd, 2020, for which the residents would vote on one of 2 names that was selected by the City Council.
The task force budget ask. After doing research on what would be an appropriate budget, we were told that the previous budget was, in the naming process, was around 19,000. So we would like to ask for a budget of 20,000. What we'd like to include in part of our outreach and making sure that we engage citizens in this process, we were looking at having some billboards in the district, which would have meetings held, public hearings held, so that those residents would know, and that it would also point residents to be able to visit the landing page and be engaged, so that everyone in the community knows that we're going through a renaming process. We would also engage residents by mailers. We would like to mail all residents within the city. We will have temporary labor or facilitator, someone that would help us to tabulate names, to enter, do data entry, and other administrative functions. Venue setup, cleanup, security, if that's something that we need. Survey submission portal, we were looking at several software that we can use, such as perhaps a Survey Monkey or a Google Form, and there are other platforms that we're looking at that are pretty much minimal cost, but we would have a more accurate amount for you at a later time. Task force T-shirts, some type of identifying, whether it be T-shirts or buttons, so that people know at these public hearings that we're part of the task force and that they can ask us questions and that we'll be glad to help. Mail-in ballot postage. We will be having name selection ballots that we will mail out to residents like seniors, and we have an estimated postage to begin with of 500 stamps, and depending on whatever that need is, we would submit that to you. Renaming task force logo design, that might be something that we do in-house with the communications department. And I do want to mention that we are working directly with the communications department on doing this, and we'll be using or taking direction with them on a lot of the design. We are asking for a dedicated phone line so that residents can call in to request ballots, or if they have particular questions. Any devices that we might need to use, such as iPads or laptops for kiosk purposes. And this is just an example of budget items. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're firm. We want to make sure that we do what's practical, what's cost effective. We would also like to ask the council for an office space that we can work out of, because there's going to be a lot of administrative work that we would need to do. And office supplies, basically paper ballots, envelopes, handouts, that type of thing. So ultimately, and also a P.O. box that we would like to have dedicated, so that when residents mail anything in, that it doesn't get mixed up with any other of the city mail. But basically, within the budget of $20,000, we would like to stay within that budget, and if there's anything else that we feel that is necessary or pertinent, we would seek the guidance of the council. And then the next steps is basically, upon your approval, we would like to implement, the resident engagement plan. And we also would request of the council members who have vacancies to be able to fill those vacancies at the next council meeting, so that we can have a full task force. I'd like to recognize the task force for all the hard work that they have done. We have been meeting every Monday for the last month, and together through the parliamentary procedure of a committee, we came up with this presentation. We take this very seriously, and we appreciate you appointing us and trusting us, and we definitely want to make sure that on behalf of the residents, the renaming The Renaming Committee Task Force, on behalf of the residents of the city of South Fulton, would like to thank you for the opportunity to engage us in this historic task.
Okay.
And at this time, if there are any questions,
Okay, let me just say, that is a wonderful job.
well, thank you.
That you really did an extraordinary job. Maybe y'all should be up here. Oh, anyway. But let me say this. You're gonna get gown. Let me say this. I personally don't think, of all the good things you said, you're gonna get all that for $20,000. I think that budget is low.
Okay, Mr. Mayor.
I think that budget is low. And these are the types of things that money well spent that we should be providing funds for. So I just think that budget, you talk about mailing out to the city, that should take half your, a lot of us, they'll take half your budget there. So I would say to my colleagues is that we should reconsider the fact that they should need more money in this budget. And I think I saw Ms. Rao's hand. And then, Ms. Gumbs, did you want to say?
My question was for the CFO. How much had been budgeted for this particular initiative? And two, I was going to echo what the mayor said, because I think a citywide mail is about $13,000. One of the things I will say, and I'm sure it's other solutions, I had the opportunity to attend a Smart Cities conference that was hosted here in Atlanta. And in other parts of the country, they're using smartphones to vote. That might be a tool and probably could give us the option to allow all 5 names that you come up with to be on the ballot, because we're looking at a traditional ballot. So as you look and explore the various tools, I know you mentioned some, I have some information for that conference that I'll share with the committee and research as you see feasible.
Okay, Ms. Gumbs?
Oh, we didn't get any information from the CFO.
Oh, I'm sorry. Nothing budgeted.
It's not budgeted in the budget.
There's nothing but.
No, it's not in there.
Okay. I'd like to add that we have communicated with Mr. Malazzi, I have particularly, because we do understand that there will be a financial impact as far as the amount of money that it would cost if the name of the city was changed, the money that will be spent in changing uniforms, logos. So we are still awaiting from Mr. CFO that information so that we also can present that during the resident engagement public hearings so that residents do understand the financial impact in the name selection process.
Okay. Any other discussion?
My question, and thank you for this presentation, it was pretty good. In regards to the mailers, it says here you all are only trying to mail to 10,000 residents versus doing a citywide mailer? We have been as I mentioned, we want to look at what's most cost effective and works. I have proposed to our committee that we use Every Door Direct. That way we reach all the residents, not just particular voters or particular households. And so far in my research of 4 districts that I went through, that cost came up to about $3,400. That will reach 1,800 rooftops. So if we add another 3 districts to that, I anticipate that it probably wouldn't exceed more than $6,000 to do it in the method of Every Door Direct. However, we're still discussing that in our meetings, and we're still discussing the design of our flyer, what cost that will be. So we're looking at cost-effective methods, but we're also looking at something to be able to reach all the residents of the city, and we certainly would take any suggestions or recommendations that you have for us. And one other thing that I liked was the dedicated phone line, but are you all planning to man that, or is that going to be
Would you like to
automated?
answer that, Mr. Secretary?
Yeah, we in the proposed budget also, we are looking at getting possibly 5 to 7 people that we can get to work part-time at maybe $8, $10 an hour, that be able to man the phone, students primarily, because as we engage in 16-year-olds, we want to educate the school systems too. And the school systems have what they call a work-based learning program. And with the work-based learning program, we're educating that student and also employing that student. So we want to use that avenue or that medium also to help us in the volunteer, well, not volunteer process, but in the process of manning our office.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Baker.
Yes, real quick. Excellent presentation. I really appreciate it. And I was fortunate enough to attend one of your meetings, and you guys are doing a great job. However, I kind of agree with the mayor in reference to this budget. You probably would need a little bit more money in order to pull off what you are requested successfully. I don't know where it's going to come from, but it is very ambitious. I think, however, you should probably consider adding robocalls. I think that's big for seniors. Seniors still answer phones at home, and they're kind of inexpensive to do. And I don't think we've ever done a citywide robocall. So if we're going to be having these community meetings, it may be a good look to do that. And the only problem I still have with it is that you guys are going to give us 5 names and expect for us to narrow them down to 2. And I wanted this to be a completely citizen-driven process, and I didn't want to have anything to do with it at all. So if we end up with Obamaville, you won't be mad with Mark Baker. So I wish that there was some way that we can go back or even consider putting more than 1 item, more than 2 items on the ballot, or probably revisit that part, because I think the reason that we started this, I know it was my idea, but then it went kind of other places with adding the process to it. I think the point of it was for it to be on the ballot so that we can vote and have everybody who goes out to vote on this next presidential election an opportunity to vote for the city name. However, council did not want to have a part of this. We saw how that worked out a couple years ago. So we wanted to leave it in the hands of the citizen. So if you guys narrowed it down yourselves, I think it would be a better process. I yield.
We'll try
Mr.
to
Baker,
accommodate your request.
I agree with you 100%. And it should be citizen-driven. I don't think none of us have been wanting anything to do with it.
I'd also like to add that with the registration process, since we will be identifying the districts that people live in, we anticipate being able to deliver to each council district a comprehensive names, email addresses of the people that live in your district and the people who participated in the selection.
And I think that when I came to the meeting, I mentioned that our city manager kind of said that he was willing to assist in lending some help when it came to you guys narrowing those names down. Someone who would be a third party, completely a facilitator. You know, someone that's neutral to come in, not directly from the city, if I recall correctly. So please consider that. It'll probably help your meetings go smoother, and it'll be helpful in narrowing those names down.
Okay.
Anything else?
Thank you all so much.
Thank
Job
you so
well
much.
done. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you
so much.
We were going. I just want to say one last thing, that we want the public to know that all our names that being submitted will be data driven from the community and not based on what we like best. It will be data driven.
Good point. Thank you so much. Madam, Mr. Clerk.
Next item on the agenda is the adoption of the council agenda. Before putting that before the body, we would like to make a correction that the city attorney presented to the clerk's office. Item number 30, council approval of a consolidated zoning ordinance. The city attorney has asked that that item be pulled, and in its place, 3 separate ordinances which have been placed before you for first read. They read as follows: an ordinance revising provisions of the city's zoning code to provide additional regulations for service stations and convenience stores and for other lawful purposes. Next, an ordinance revising provisions of the city's zoning code to provide regulation for food trucks and food truck festivals and for other lawful purposes. And the last one, an ordinance revising provisions of the city's zoning code to regulate party houses in residential districts and for other lawful purposes. Those three items replace item 30, council approval to a consolidated zoning ordinance.
I'd like to make a motion to amend the agenda, removing item 17 from the consent agenda, beginning the agenda with the public hearing of the URA plan, followed by the approval of M19-004, followed by item 25, approval of the LMIG, followed by item number 26, approval of the laser scanner, followed by an executive session for real estate and litigation, followed by public comment, and then proceeding with the remaining public hearing items and agenda items as listed, city manager and CFO's reports, and the additional items that were just presented to us.
I would like to make an amendment.
So,
Oh, sorry.
properly moved and second. I heard a second. Is that right, Mr. Baker? Did you second, Mr. Baker?
Yes.
Okay. Now we're in discussion.
Several residents have been here for a long time, and they're asking if we can move public comments up. And so I would like to ask that we move public comments up for and place public comments right after number 6, which is the adoption of the council agenda.
Mr. Clerk, I hope you're getting all this, because I was lost 5 minutes ago.
I would like to ask that we move public comments up to number 7, the item right after the adoption of council agenda. Typically, we will have public comments at the 7 p.m. council meeting, and due to the events, you know, our residents are patient and have been here with us for a long time.
Okay. Okay, let me get, I acknowledge her, then I'll get you. Go ahead. She has to leave.
I would like to move council acceptance of the Fulton County Board of Elections certified election results from the consent agenda and move it further down in the regular agenda.
Move it from the consent to the regular agenda. Okay, Mr. Khalid, go ahead.
So I do not accept the First Amendment. I do think that we need to do the city's business. The most important thing that we need to do tonight is approve this URA money and this LMIG money for projects. It's time sensitive. We need to do that before we do anything. And there is a third zoning item that is also time sensitive. Those things need to be approved. Then we can have public comment, but we do need to have, and there will be public comment during those zoning hearings, but we do need to do the business of the city, which is making sure that projects that are in limbo right now get resolution and get funded. This is our last meeting of the year, and we do have a councilwoman that has an emergency, so I do want to make sure that we hear all of those things before we get to public comment. I do accept her friendly amendment to remove item, I think that is number 12, and we can put that at the end of the agenda.
Okay, should get yours.
Yeah.
Okay,
Can
you want
I
to
repeat
enlighten me what happened a few minutes ago?
Yes, we have a motion by Councilmember Khalid, seconded by Mr. Baker, as follows. Number 1, hear item number 6, public hearing, council final approval of URA plan and related items. Secondly, hear the public hearing, council approval of Z19-004 for rezoning from C2.
M19.
And 19, okay. To hear Z19-004 for rezoning from C2 to conditional to C1 for Jonesboro Road.
No, I'm sorry, M19-004 is modification of 5626 Old National Highway.
Okay, so in place of Z19?
Yes.
Okay.
M19.
So we'll hear council approval M19-004 modification. Second. Thirdly, we will hear item number 25, council approval to accept the 2020 local maintenance and improvement grant in the amount of $1,222,516.71. Fourthly, we will hear council approval to purchase a Fargo 3D forensic laser scanner. Fifth, council will break for executive session. Sixth, the council will consider public comment. And seventh, all other public hearings will be heard. Additionally, item number 12 will be moved to the end of the agenda, as well as item number 17 will be removed from the consent agenda. And Councilmember Khalid, did you want item 17 removed from the agenda in total or removed to the regular agenda?
Move to the end of the regular agenda.
Okay. And that completes the recommendation.
Okay, excuse me, before we go any further, I neglected, we have a couple of elected officials with us tonight. And I saw Representative Sharon Teague. She's still here? She must have left. And I see Representative Roger Bruce. I want to acknowledge them for being here. All right, I saw a hand this way.
Did we vote on it?
No, we didn't.
Discussion.
Go ahead.
You know, out of all due respect, we only have one meeting in November. This is a lot. I think if we try to move through it and we don't have to comment on everything, we're not ready to take action, can we just push it over to the next meeting? Because a number of these items are first read anyway.
Well, we do that anyway. It's just a simple thing that we'll push.
I mean, going through all that, I think we should try to cover as much as possible.
Okay.
I got one more discussion.
Okay, go ahead.
I would like to ask if we can pull public comments up before we go into executive session. Our executive sessions have been lasting pretty lengthy, and at least we need to, our residents came out, and we at least need to allow them to give their public comments before we go back to executive session.
I agree with that.
Mr. Mayor?
Go ahead.
Our residents also came out for a hearing that didn't happen today. So we do have to do the business of the city, and we should do the business of the city.
So you're not accepting that motion?
I am not.
Okay. All right, any further discussion? Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? All those in favor? Of the agenda and the modification? 1, 2. That's 4.
I'd like to make a motion.
Go ahead.
Different force.
Go ahead.
So I would like to make a motion first to, on the consent agenda, to pull T. Dallas and Company and place that on the regular agenda. Did we capture that?
That's already been done, yes.
Okay, and the second one is to...
But then we just vote on the agenda?
Yes.
So I don't think we can make any more changes, let's see.
No. We only voted on his motion.
Which was to change the agenda.
With all those changes.
Yeah.
Well, there's stuff I need to pull off the agenda.
Madam Attorney?
Motion to reconsider.
We didn't even do the consent. We did.
He accepted it with all those changes.
Yes. We've accepted the agenda with the changes, and she has some more she wants to make after we have accepted the agenda.
So you've voted to approve the agenda with changes.
That's correct.
Now, did the person who is asking to make additional changes, did they vote in favor?
No, I didn't.
Well, if someone who voted in favor wants to do a motion for reconsideration, then you could reconsider the approval of the agenda.
That's true.
I need to pull something out the agenda. So,
You have to reconsider your prevailing side.
So, Councilman Khalid, I would like to remove on the regular agenda the vehicle mobilization from the agenda and bring that back at another time. It has not been properly vetted.
Number 28.
We can just hold it when we get to it.
Okay.
All right. Ms. Clerk. Okay, next item on the agenda, approval of city council meeting minutes. Item 2, council approval of city council work session minutes, November 12th, 2019.
I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve the council meeting, council work session minutes from November 12th, 2019.
Second.
Properly moved and second. Discussion.
I'm not ready to approve the meeting minutes. I need to review them.
Then you just have to vote. Okay. All those in favor? Well, discussion, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I think Councilman Khalid is right, given that we may have some discrepancies on that. I think we should not approve those minutes right now.
Okay. All right, any further discussion?
And so this agenda is, packet is given to us, today is Tuesday. It was put out on Tuesday, last Friday, and we're supposed to read our agenda packets prior to us coming to the meeting. So if there are any changes, then those changes should be brought before council at the council meeting.
Okay.
So I just wanted to make that comment.
Okay, Ms. Jackson.
I think what we're looking at is there was discrepancy in the December 3rd minutes tonight. So that's where I would like to hold.
Okay.
This motion is for the November 12th.
That's correct.
Okay.
That's correct. This is for the November 12th. All right. All those in favor of the motion? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that passes.
Next item, council approval of city council regular meeting minutes, November 12th.
I'll entertain a motion.
I'd like to make a motion to approve.
26? No, 12.
Is there it's been properly moved and second. Any discussion? Dr. Rao?
There are a couple edits that need to be made under the comments from council. We announced a monthly cleanup, not a monthly meeting, and the year needs to be corrected to say 2019.
Okay.
First section under the minutes.
Okay.
You have that, Mr. Clerk?
2019. Yes, we have those two corrections.
Okay, any further discussion?
Clarification, I think this was pointed out for purposes under the city attorney's report. The minutes, a motion was made to approve the December 10th meeting as a regular meeting. Councilmember Khalid clarified that the December 10th meeting would consist of a work session of 5 and executive session. So it was highlighted.
What's the date of that meeting again?
This is in the minutes from,
The 12th?
yeah,
Okay.
it's highlighted in our book.
Have you got that correction, Mr. Clerk?
I got the highlighted, so noted.
All right. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor with those changes or those corrections? All those in favor?
3, 4.
That passes. Mr. Clerk, next, please.
Next item, council approval of city council special call meeting minutes, Tuesday, November 26, 2019.
I'll entertain a motion.
I move to approve the special call meetings from November 26, 2019.
Second.
Properly moved to second. Discussion. Hearing none. All those in favor? Okay, that fails for lack of 4 votes.
Next item, council approval of special call meeting minutes, December 3rd, 2019.
I'll entertain a motion.
I like to make the motion. I think this is the one that we're trying to hold, correct?
Right.
I like to make a motion that we hold the approval for special call meeting minutes for December 3rd, 2019.
Second.
Properly moved to second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? That passes. Mr. Clerk?
Next item, it's public hearing, council final approval of URA plan and related items, and I believe the city attorney has the documents for that item.
Madam Attorney, are these documents any different from what we've already seen?
They are not different, Mayor. The documents are not different.
So Mayor, you have a copy of the plan in front of you that's being circulated. The plan incorporates the 2 changes that you made at your last meeting.
Sure.
That being the Butner Road addition as well as the Campbell Drive addition.
Yes.
So I've incorporated those. The bank has approved all financing. We earlier met as the URA. We did the first component of approvals. We are requesting tonight that you approve. It's the document that starts with a resolution ratifying the approval of the urban redevelopment plan for the city of South Fulton. And we are recommending that you approve this document. We will move forward with the validation process. And if you have any questions regarding specifics, we also have bond counsel and the financial advisor.
So you have 2 documents here. You want to approve them both at the same time?
The only document that we are going to approve is it's called a resolution ratifying the approval of the urban redevelopment plan for the city of South Fulton.
Okay.
And you can disregard the other 2, but the plan is one of the 2, just so you can have quick access to the plan.
I got you. Okay, Ms. Willis.
So my question, why a resolution versus an ordinance?
So it's not a requirement. We just put it in resolution form. Typically, for your ordinances, I do where you're codifying law, where you're creating law, and in this case, because it's not a codification, we did it resolution form.
Go ahead.
Yes. So we are not creating a law by approving the urban redevelopment plan?
No, you are not. This is, no.
Okay. Any further discussion? Hearing none.
And we do have the collaboration has been with me as local counsel for the authority with Doug Selby, Ed Wall. They're present too if you have any questions.
Sure, well.
And this is a public hearing as well.
It is a public hearing?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So, Mr. Selby, is this typical? Is URAs are approved with resolutions versus ordinances?
Oh, here you go. The procedure by which the local government approves the IGA can be either ordinance or resolution. It depends on your own charter. And as the city attorney has mentioned, if your charter doesn't require that it be by ordinance, resolution is just fine.
Okay. And so have we, Attorney Walker, we have confirmed that the charter does not require ordinance? Because he said it could be either or, but we are supposed to approve this based on what is outlined in the charter.
Yeah, unless your charter required an ordinance, a resolution is an acceptable means of approving an intergovernmental agreement.
That's good. All right.
That's correct. I agree with that.
So,
So my question was, did we confirm, did we make sure the charter does not require us to do an ordinance versus a resolution?
Yeah, I'm not aware of any requirement in the charter that we do IGAs by ordinance versus resolution.
Okay.
So, Mr. Clerk, do I need to open up the public hearing?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you all, sir. I now open up the public hearing. Those who want to speak for and against or against.
Oh, I see what you mean for the URA.
For the URA, those who want to speak for or against. Okay, hearing none, I'll close the public hearing. I'll entertain a motion.
I move to approve the council final approval of the URA plan and related items.
Second. Properly moved and second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? That passes unanimously.
Next item, public hearing, council approval of M19-004, modification of Z84-1-190 at 5626 Old National Highway.
Who is? Oh, she needs to do it, yeah. He's the applicant, right? Okay, go ahead.
While he's setting that up, I'll keep the discussion going. This item is an item that you've heard before for rezoning. This location is the Habitat for Humanity site. There we go. Okay, so there, let me skip past, there we go. So the item, there's a condition on the site that's preventing the development of the site, and so it's making it so that the item is being restricted for development. So this is the location. It's located along Old National, as mentioned. You're seeing where the site is approximately 1.83 acres. It's currently vacant. They're asking to have an 18,000 square foot restore and open office space area for operations, as you're seeing on the site plan. That's also included in your packets. Okay. So the condition that is Z840190, condition 1A, says that the retail area has to be no more than 7,200 square feet. As I mentioned before, the size of the building will be a lot larger than what is being allowed in the condition. Therefore, staff is asking for approval to remove the condition to allow for them to move forward with the construction of this site. That concludes my report, Sir Mayor.
Can you repeat what you just last part? I'm sorry.
So the applicant is asking to have the condition removed because they are looking to have a building that's larger than what the condition allows for. Yeah.
I couldn't hear because it was talking.
I'm sorry, she couldn't hear it. Go ahead. She couldn't hear you.
Staff recommends approval of this request.
Just 1 minute. I'm about to open the public hearing. All right, I'll now open up the public hearing. Those for or against the zoning?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of council. My name is Steve Rothman, 2849 Paces Ferry Road. I'm with the law firm of Wilson, Brock, and Irby, and I'm here on behalf of Habitat for Humanity Atlanta. I'm joined by Wesley Brooks, who's with Habitat, and if you've got any questions, Mr. Brooks can, if he gets into details, he knows more than I do. This is an application that came before you in May of this year for a zoning modification to change an old condition. Habitat went off to file their permits after it was unanimously approved by council. And then another old condition was found. This development involves combining 2 pieces of land and 1 building, and they found another condition that limits the size of that building for 1 piece of land. And so what they're trying to do here is combine 2 lots. And so we would like to remove that condition to allow the plan to go forward. There's no change in our plan other than achieving compliance with your code. We're not making any changes to the plan. This is the same thing that came before you in May. And so out of respect for everybody's time, I think I'll stop there. That's the situation, and we're here to answer any questions if you have them.
Anyone else? Okay. Anyone else from the community for or against? If not, hearing that, I'll close the public hearing. Ms. Jackson.
Mr. Wesley, I think that's what Mr. And I think I asked you this before. There was a meeting in Fairwood last year with Mrs. Klein. And I spoke with her on this year after speaking with a constituent. And she said that there was not going to be anything done as far as the blight houses in our area. They were not doing anything. And that was why we were considering, and I was really for Habitat for Humanity as far as coming on Old National. But when that was said, and I did talk to her, but I've gotten another email yesterday saying yes. So I'm getting conflicting information. Yes. So it's either they are going to assist us with the blighted houses or they're not. And this is, information that I would really like to know. Truth.
Absolutely, and I appreciate the opportunity to answer the question. Our messaging was not clear, and that's why in the email that all of council and mayor received yesterday, our CEO, Lisa Gordon, made sure that council had it in writing exactly what our plan was for our programs for the city of South Fulton. And our intention, as of right now, we can do veterans immediately. There's funding available for that, but our intention is to, as we get the operations center in order, we're able to then start families in the area. So we made sure that we tried to outline that for council.
So veterans, you're just going to assist them in repairing their homes, but as far as purchasing blighted houses in the area, you will not do?
I think we actually included in there as well our plan for acquisition of homes, and that is for the rehab of those homes and putting new families in them as well. I think that was also included in there under the new housing section.
It was.
Okay.
All right, Ms. Willis.
I just want to confirm that you all are looking at blight citywide, right? Not just in one area. You're going to look at citywide, what is beneficial for you all to rehabilitate, or citywide?
Absolutely. So this is actually part of what I do for Habitat. We are better able to have an impact if we're concentrating some of those efforts. So when we look at repairs, that's typically citywide in a city the size of South Fulton. When we are combining new homes, new repairs, new rehabs, we can have more of an impact if we do that block by block. We, in places like Fairburn, in places like East Point, and in the city of Atlanta, we have done that by working with city officials to identify the areas where they would like us to concentrate our efforts. It's typically we're going to work hand in hand to be able to do that, but we would come to council, we would come to neighborhood leaders to figure out where we can have the most impact.
Okay, thank you.
Any other further discussion? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion for approval of M19-004 modification of 5626 Old National Highway.
Properly moved and second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? That passes unanimously, Mr. Clerk. All right.
Next item on the agenda is item 25, council approval to accept the 2020 local maintenance and improvement grant in the amount of $1,222,516.71, contingent on the city of South Fulton providing the required 30% match in the amount of $366,755.01.
I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve the LMIG.
Second.
Properly moved and second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
I'm sorry, I do have a quick discussion.
Yeah, go ahead.
I just wanted to say one of the reasons we wanted to move this up is that there are a couple of bridges that are closed right now in need of repair, and this LMIG, these funds will go to repair those bridges.
Okay. All those in favor again? That passes unanimously, Mr. Clerk.
Next item, number 26, council approval to purchase a Fargo 3D forensic laser scanner in the amount not to exceed $64,000.
I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve the laser scanner for our police department.
Properly moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? That passes unanimously.
Next item, executive session. And Councilman Khalid, can you state the reasons for the executive session again?
I make a motion that we go into executive session for real estate and litigation.
Properly moved and second. Any discussion? Ms. Rao, Dr. Rao.
Litigation, personnel, and women's services.
So what now?
Needs to be litigation, personnel, and women's services.
Yeah, she's changing it.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so Mayor, I would just request that we add personnel for one quick item that we can follow up on. Shouldn't take more than 10 minutes.
Make it a motion. You all ready now?
I'm sorry. We need to get out and make this vote for real estate and litigation. So I'm going to ask that we just have a second executive session later for personnel.
Wait a minute. Say that again. You want another?
No, that's fine. Go ahead. We'll take it.
Okay. All those in favor? All right. We'll adjourn for executive session.
I need to check the vote though.
What? Okay. Okay, I'll entertain a motion to reconvene.
I'd like to make a motion to reconvene.
Second.
Properly moved and second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? That passes. Would like to entertain another motion to close the executive session.
I'd like to make a motion to close the executive session.
Mr. Clerk, were there any decisions made in executive session?
There was no formal action in executive session.
Okay, hearing that, all those in favor? That passes. Mr. Clerk, go ahead.
The next item on the agenda is public comment. Speakers can complete a speaker comment card. Speakers will be granted a total of 2 minutes each, and public comments will not exceed 30 minutes. Speakers will not be allowed to yield or donate their time to any other speakers. Speakers must identify themselves and their address prior to speaking. Speakers may only address the presiding officer, shall observe all rules of decorum. No debate, disrespect, or obscenities shall be tolerated. The presiding officer shall rule any such individual out of order that fails to comply with the foregoing. Mr. Mayor and Council, we have a total of 6 speakers signed up for public comment. As I call your name, would you please approach the podium and again state your name and district that you reside in. The first speaker is Rhonda Simpson. Next speaker is Demita Chapman, Harold Reed, Wanda Mosley. Let me set that.
Good evening. My name is Rhonda Simpson. I reside at 629 Maltese Drive in District 3. I'm here today because we the people elected Councilman Willis. I'm not understanding what this whole debacle was tonight, but it's been, what I saw was vindictiveness. I don't think as a council, certain people should be acting a certain way. Whatever she did, we shouldn't be knowing about it, and airing out the dirty laundry and behaving in the manner that you guys behaved in was horrible. I hope that y'all can go home and read and watch exactly what happened tonight in order to see what's going on. Now, the only people up here who are doing anything good is 1, 2, and 3. To this side of me, I don't know what y'all do because I haven't seen anything. Feel however you want to feel, but I just feel like this. The grave that you are digging for her is going to be the grave that you dig for yourself. So when you dig 1, make sure that you dig 2. Because being mean-spirited and acting the way that y'all act is ridiculous. Like, we're here waiting to do public comment because somebody decided they want to act like a petulant child and say, oh, we're going to change whatever. Like, this is, we come here all the time to go through all of this. Do the job that we are paying y'all to do as taxpayers. We have wasted money tonight to have a judge come here for y'all to now say, oh no, we want to do it again, do-over. It's considered double jeopardy. Why are we doing do-overs? If y'all paid her all that money to come here to say, oh, it's no good anymore, why are we even going through it again? When legally, y'all gonna go through it, you may sanction her, but she got reelected by us. We the people should decide whether or not she stay here, not you. You are not judge and jury of her. And to me, it makes no sense. And I just think, again, this pettiness is ridiculous. Like, if y'all could just see how y'all behave tonight, maybe y'all will change your mind.
Thank you. Next.
Thank you. My name is Demita Chapman. I live at 7303 Simon Street. I know all you guys know me. We did not fight for this. I'm gonna say, Council Lady Jackson, thank you for doing a servant. Mark Baker, thank you for being re-elected. Thank Council Willis. But if you guys are gonna get Helen for what she do, y'all should have saw how y'all act tonight. We're gonna be the laughing stock of America. When we were fighting cityhood, you know what they said? Them black folks gonna act an ass. And y'all showed y'all ass tonight. I'm gonna tell you, if y'all gonna throw darts, if y'all gonna throw darts at Helen, whoever, listen, if y'all gonna throw darts, y'all need to go home and look at the video. I'm gonna start the recall petition. I'm gonna start it. I wanna thank this side, my council lady, thank you for carrying yourself like a council lady tonight. Thank you, Council Lady Guns. It ain't personal, this is taxpayers' dollars. You vote Helen out December 31st, January the 1st, she back in, wasting taxpayer dollars. I'm gonna ask for my open records again, but this time I'm gonna ask them on everybody. Thank you. But y'all are pathetic. Thank you.
Harold Reed, Wanda Mosley, Miss Ivory Denson, and Beverly Parham.
Wanda Mosley, 4689 Creekside Cove, District 3, City of South Fulton. I am here today wearing the shirt that I wore so proudly when so many of us worked diligently and tirelessly to create this city. But today I am also here because I am frustrated and I am angry, and we are sick of the petty politics. It is time for policymakers to do your job. Councilwoman Willis has been elected not once, twice to her seat. She has served her residents, and clearly we are happy with the job that she has done. But for you to attempt to remove a duly elected member of this body is beyond irresponsible. And you can look away and ignore me all you want, but you know this is wrong. We should be here, oh gosh, here we go with the whispering. I should be able to go out and talk about all the good things that we've done in this city. How we celebrate Indigenous Peoples Day, how we have decriminalized a small amount of marijuana. But instead, I have to defend the fact that the petty politics is what people want to talk about. When I tell them I'm from the city of South Fulton, they want to know why we're on the news every 5 minutes for silliness. They don't want to talk about all the progressive agenda. They don't want to talk about those things. And the way that you continue to perpetrate that, that's the only discussion anyone wants to have. John Lewis tells us that our right to vote is our most sacred right as citizens. And for you to try to silence us and take away my vote is beyond irresponsible. And I've told you this on more than one occasion, Khalid. Stop messing with District 3. You don't live here. You don't get to decide who represents us. That is our job. You're a policymaker. Go make policy. Thank you.
Point of order, Mr. Chair.
What is your point?
I would like to reread the rules again. There are people yelling and cursing at us, and that is unprofessional.
All right, excuse me. Thank you. Who is it? All right, I will ask this, that we control our words as we come to the microphone. Thank you, Mr. Khalid, for that.
Well, I'm having to change my remarks somewhat, but my feeling about what happened tonight is this: and if there is a credible allegation of a violation of the charter, there should be an investigative hearing. That's right. Now that's what should happen. I don't want one for the other. That has nothing to do with it, but I'm just talking about, I want things to be done right and in order. So if there's a credible violation, it should be investigated. Now, what's in a name? That which we call a rose by any other name is just as sweet. I am very concerned about the effort to rename the city of South Fulton to something else. Rather than focusing on the name, I wish that we would focus on what image that we have, and also the cost. The committee said that they needed a budget of $20,000, and yet they were told, no, you need more than that. And they're going to need even more than that, because if you think about the equipment, the police cars, the fire equipment, the street signage, the uniforms, all of that, the literature, all of that is going to have to be redone. That's going to be expensive. So why are we wasting money that way? There are better ways that we can spend this money. A name is a name. And since we've already decided to go with the city of South Fulton, I personally don't see any benefits to changing it to something else and incurring those costs. As I said before, we need to focus on trying to make, since this city is here, to focus on trying to make it truly the first city in America that is predominantly black occupied and is run by black people, that is run well. And that's what I'm looking for. Thank you very much.
Last speaker is Ms. Beverly Parham.
On a very positive note, I would like to thank Mrs. Shayla Reed, Community Development and Regulatory Affairs Director, for an awesome Power of Compliance seminar held on Thursday, December 5th, 2019, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. The resident outpour was very low, but this was a very efficient educational program for the community. A lot of questions we have about things, there are answers. We always say, well, we don't know where to call, we don't know where to go to. Come out to the Power of Compliance seminars. Education is a jewel, and it's good for the soul. Also, I'm trying to still figure out why we have an 18-wheeler brigade on Buffington Road. They come down Royal South, turn right, go past the school, turn left and come down Buffington. Go see the skid marks, the black skid marks where these trucks are sliding to keep from hitting people. We need you all functioning for the people and the issues and concerns that we have. All the other issues that you have, if it's a personal issue, you work it out. If it's a political issue, then the team works it out. And the very last thing I have to talk about is foot traffic in my community. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Mr. Mayor, moving to the next item. Item 7, public hearing. Council approval of request for alcohol license, Chevron Food Mart located at 3850 Flat Shoals Road.
Item what? Chief, go ahead.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
I don't see it, do you?
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. This is actually an existing alcohol permit that's being switched over ownership. It's from 3850 Flat Shoals Road. It's coming over from Poja Stores, and Mr. Sanaa Momin is actually the new applicant coming forward. It appears that he's satisfied all of the criteria for the city of South Fulton to be awarded an alcohol license.
Is this a public hearing? Yes. Okay. I'm open to public hearing.
This is Mr. Sanaa Momin.
I'm open to public hearing. Those who are for or against this action, please come up. Sir, you're the applicant. You can come up. Go ahead.
What? Okay. So, yeah, well, I'm actually representing Suna. She had to leave home for her kids, so we're just here for the alcohol license. My name is Mirage Damani. address, I actually live in Lilburn, Georgia. Sana lives in Norcross. And this is actually our first store that was taken over from Pujasi stores. We actually already had a license, so we're just doing a change of ownership.
And you're off where?
The Chevron, right?
The Chevron.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
That's right across from DP.
Yes.
Okay. I remember it well. All right, anybody against? Anybody against? Okay. Hearing no objections, I'll close the public hearing.
Can I ask one question?
Yes, you can.
I just want to make sure it's not, because they tried to get alcohol license for the middle space. Just making sure that it's still just the Chevron.
Just the Chevron.
Okay, all right, thank you.
You want to make a motion?
Yes, I move to approve the request for alcohol license Chevron Food Mart located at 3850 Flat Shoals Road.
Is there a second? Properly moved and second. Any further discussion? All those in favor? That passes. Mr. Baker, you're not voting? Okay, that passes, what is it, 5-1? 6-1? 23. 5-1. Okay, go ahead.
Actually, I have a motion.
What's your motion before you give it? What's it pertaining to?
This meeting.
Is this topic?
I'm going to make a motion to adjourn this meeting and move the rest of the items to the January 14th meeting and the zoning item to the January 28th meeting. It is 6 hours after 5 p.m. This building is staffed by county employees, and we've handled all the time-sensitive financial matters of the city. So that is my motion.
I would like
Second discussion.
I would like to say this. There are some, the city manager and others are telling me there's some issues that we do have to pertain to tonight. I understand what you're saying about the time. We have the same issues when we were over in Stonewall Tail.
Is there a time that we have to stop?
Right. So we're in discussion. Anyone else?
No, I was asking, is there a time that we have to have a hard stop?
Isn't this our building?
No, not yet.
We were not made aware of any time.
Tony?
Mr.
Tony, you have a
Jordan
time
is
limit to
the
get out?
manager.
Tony says no. Okay, there's a motion. All those in favor?
I was the first person to ask for discussion.
Go ahead.
We have to make a determination on our next meeting. We couldn't do it in executive session. So if we're going to vote in favor for this, just note that we haven't scheduled our meeting in between the 30th that we all agreed to have.
Okay. Mr. Manager, do you want to say something?
Prior to adjourning, there are two items that are pretty pertinent, and that's the...
We haven't voted on adjourning yet.
I'm just saying, if before you make a decision, we do need to look at the adoption, just as a reminder, of FY19 and FY20 budget ordinance amendments. Remember, we've accepted some funds previously that we have to be able to continue that process to move forward. So those items are pretty pertinent.
Okay, Ms. Rao and Ms. Gumbs.
I'd like to suggest we try to get through as much of this that we can in the next 30 minutes and then have a hard cut off. Because there's a number of things I think we can move right through.
Right. And Ms. Gumbs?
And I agree as well. I was thinking if it's possible that maybe we can suspend the reports and either publish them online. That way, that will also take some time off of the business that we can accomplish.
Ms. Malazzi, are you all right with that? You can give Senator a report, Mr. Donald.
Yes.
Hold up. Are you all right?
Yes, I think you can. I think there is just one thing that there's a piece from the American Red Cross that came in kind of as an emergency during this meeting, so we can report out on that in maybe in 2 minutes. It's minor, but
Okay, we can take care of that. Ms. Willis, let's go ahead.
I think it was the budget amendment is what needs to be approved, Mr. Malazi? Is that?
Yeah, just the budget discuss.
So I concur with Councilmember Gums and Councilmember Rowell. I think if we can defer the reports.
And the first reads.
And the first reads. I think that will cut down significantly on the agenda items.
Okay, which would include Mr. Donald, your action. Red Cross action. Mr. Clerk, you got that? Okay. Well, let's.
I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor.
There's a motion on the floor.
I'm going to carry it.
I will be happy to rescind my motion or entertain a substitute motion with those amendments.
Okay. Ms. Rao, go ahead.
I make a motion that we post the monthly reports online for the public to review, and that we proceed through the agenda with as many items as we can cover in the next 30 minutes.
Second.
Properly moved and second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? That passes, Mr. Clerk. Pass the first item, please.
First item is item 8, public hearing. Council approval of Z19-004 for rezoning from C2 conditional to C1 Jonesboro Road.
Is the applicant here?
Applicant asks for withdrawal and staff supports it. Thank you.
Based on what?
Based on the fact that the applicant is now trying to sell the property, he doesn't want the request to change or go through tonight. So he's asking them withdraw.
Okay, I'm open to public hearing. Mike, you want to say something?
Mr. Michael Venable, District 6. I'm requesting that this application be denied. If you will look at this one, you know, I look at sneaky things, and this is one of them. They were not required to post anything. They did not do any public community meetings. They did not submit a site plan. I'm still having trouble of why we even took this application. And I see what it is. They wanted a clean slate to do whatever they wanted to do. They want to put a gas station here. That's what it's all about. But they took it out so that there was no restriction that you could put dollar stores, barber shops, liquor stores, body arts, every single thing that this community is suffered with that we're trying to get rid of. So I'm just trying to tell you that this application needs to be denied. We went through this same thing in the Planning Commission. Unfortunately, you don't have any notes from it because they kind of disappeared. But the same thing came up. This application needs to be denied, has no merit, it has no reason for being here, and just like you said, there was no reason to asking for a withdrawal. So I'm requesting this application be denied.
Okay, Ms. Reed, let me ask you a question. It's understand by withdrawing it that this applicant come back, right?
If it withdraws, yes, but the applicant, as I mentioned, is trying to sell the property.
So if we deny it, he comes back in a year and he's going to sell the property, what's the significance of that?
So if he sells the property to someone else, it's a new applicant. So even if you deny it, it'll still be a new applicant coming back with a new opportunity to rezone or do whatever they may attempt to do.
So his motion is to what again?
Withdraw.
Withdraw, and that means that he can come back.
That applicant, yes, but as I mentioned, they're working on a sale at this moment. So
that's why I'm confused. If he's going to sell the property, why is he asking to be withdrawn?
At this point, either way, the application came through the staff. Staff found that he is, again, looking to purchase or sell the property. I keep saying purchase, but sell the property to someone else. So he's asking to withdraw the request. If you want to deny, you do have that option. There is a, I believe, 12-month freeze for that particular applicant, but that stays with that applicant. Should he sell that property and go to someone else, that 12-month is not applied to that new owner.
Right. So I think the proper, I'm sorry, I'll get you. I think the proper thing is to deny it. But Mr. Baker, go ahead.
Yeah, I believe this is in District 7. If this is denied, is he still allowed to sell it? He's still allowed to sell his property, and whoever purchases the property can come back
with the new application.
With the new application. Mm-hmm. Okay. I actually agree with Mr. Venable when it comes to the plans for this land. Okay. We've had so many conversations about those gas stations and the trickery that comes along with it. Mm-hmm. And I've had several meetings with people about this exact property, and it's almost like the gas station is the bait. Approve it, yeah, we'll give you everything you want as long as you give us this gas station too. And if we approve it, there's no handle on anything, and there hasn't been any public meetings or anything regarding that I'm aware of, or I've been made aware of regarding this. So I actually like to make the motion to deny it.
Properly moved and second. Any further discussion? Mr. Khalid, I'm sorry. Can I get Mr. Khalid, go ahead.
We do have a moratorium against like uses in place until the zoning rewrite is done in June. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm, correct.
Okay. Yes, I know. I know it said that folks on this side of the table weren't doing anything, but one of the things that we did do was put a moratorium against like uses. Mm-hmm. And so under that moratorium, regardless of what happens with this property, there is a moratorium against gas stations on this property at least through the end of our zoning rewrite. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, I just wanted that entered into the record. I don't want anyone buying this property thinking that like they can build a gas station because there's currently a moratorium on that site.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? That passes unanimously. Mr. Clerk.
Next item, we are foregoing comments from council. We're foregoing the Chief Financial Officer's monthly report. We're foregoing the City Manager's report.
Except for one thing. Am I right, Mr. Manager?
Yes.
Okay, he has one item he has to discuss.
Yeah, we will not be doing the City Manager's report, but we will make sure to, while the document is already online, we'll add a letter just kind of highlighting key areas, including the URA and other council successes, and have that up by close of business tomorrow. In addition to that, the Red Cross called us today at about 7:30 p.m. If you remember, in February, we entered into an agreement with them to serve as a shelter during the Super Bowl. I think that agreement lasted for about a year. Today, there was a fire within the city in an apartment building that displaced about 40 persons. And so we will be partnering and responding to that emergency with the Red Cross, leveraging Sandtown Recreation Center for the next 24 to 48 hours. There are about 40 people who are impacted. Police and fire have been supporting the Red Cross, and we'll continue to have programming, although some of it may move to Cliftondale, but I wanted to make sure that we made you aware of that, so that we can be responsible.
So there's no action taken.
No action.
Okay, good. I think
it's because it happened during the council meeting.
I think that's what we're here for.
Yes, sir.
And appreciate it. Okay.
Okay, foregoing the City Attorney's monthly report, the next item is the consent agenda items. We have item 13, Councilmember Khalid would like to appoint the following: Jill L. Walker to the Parks Advisory Board.
Jatil, I'm sorry, Jatil, that should be
Jatil Walker to the Parks Advisory Board. Robert Dawson to the Zoning Board of Appeal. and Robert Roosevelt Ross to the City Renaming Committee. Proclamation was presented to Tracy Wyatt. Proclamation was presented to the East Point College Park Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority. Proclamation was presented to Andrea Maria Doc Johnson. Also, a proclamation was presented to Hazel Haynes. That completes the consent agenda.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Properly moved and second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? That passes unanimously.
Next item is item 19, second reading and adoption of the FY19 Budget Ordinance Amendment.
Ms. Raw.
Make a motion to approve adoption of the fiscal year 19 budget ordinance amendment. Second.
Properly moved and second. Discussion. Hearing none. All those in favor? That passes.
No.
That passes.
No.
I got you. 5-1. Ms. Willis not voting. Voting no. I'm sorry.
6-1. Got it. Next item, second reading and adoption of FY20 Budget Ordinance Amendment.
I make a motion to approve the fiscal year 20 budget ordinance amendment. Second.
Properly moved and second. Discussion.
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Malazzi, we heard tonight a $20,000 ask for the naming committee, and then we heard that that number should be higher. Are either of those numbers included in this FY20 budget amendment?
No. You said no.
They are not included.
Okay.
They are not included because none of them, the committee asked for the budget. But
And
if they bring the number, we'll make a budget amendment as well. We include it.
So we'll be doing another one of these.
Right.
I also understand, I had a meeting with Ms. Nina in finance that you would like to make an amendment to the blighted property ordinance?
That's correct.
That is not in this budget amendment either.
It's not.
So when it passes, for the time being, there is still a dedicated line item for the blighted property fund. That fund still exists as a separate fund outside of the general fund in this budget ordinance. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
Okay. Was there a motion?
There was a motion made by Councilmember Rao, seconded by Councilmember Gums.
All right. Let's vote. All those in favor? That passes unanimously.
Okay, next item, second reading and adoption of text amendment TA-001 for food trucks.
I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve the second reading of adoption of text amendment for food trucks TA-001 for the
Yeah.
for the zoning rewrite.
Second. Is there a second?
Right, but I thought she changed.
Where's the attorney Rock?
Isn't it correct that you substituted this for 3 separate ordinances?
I think that was item 30.
Yeah, that's correct. So I gave you a consolidated version. This is identical to the consolidated version with the exception that certain things have been extracted that the planning department is not moving forward with at this time.
Okay, so it is correct to have it listed on this agenda?
Correct.
Okay.
Is there a second?
Second.
Properly moved and second. Any further discussion?
Yes, I have one question, and I promise you this one. But I didn't see. Are we going to charge people who want to just randomly show up in our city and park their food trucks and sell food? Okay. Is there anything? I didn't.
You know, the city has a separate.
And I'm sorry, Shell. I know you want to go home.
It has a separate fee schedule.
Right, so there's an application process, so that's where the fees are related. So, no.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we do have that.
Yeah, we got
Yes.
that.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Let's vote, please. All those in favor? That passes unanimously.
Next item, item 22, second reading and council approval to table indefinitely the text amendment of overlay districts, TA-002.
Well, we're going to do discussion.
I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the second reading and council approval to table indefinitely the text amendment for the city's overlay districts TA-002. And I will ask that Director Reed come up and explain, because we have gotten some questions in regards to whether or not we were eliminating overlays for the entire
Thank
city.
you for that. So this item for the overlays is more so for the residential component to overlays. As I mentioned in my staff report, it gave a little bit too much of a restrictive end on residential, meaning your residential housing will look almost identical. We don't want that. We want to allow for there to be an opportunity to have character in different subdivisions, different areas. So we're asking to take that off the table. We'll discuss that with the zoning rewrite team. So please table that item.
Just clarify.
Yes, ma'am.
I know we talked about what they could put on the exterior, even though we're not trying to say they have to look like. Is that currently addressed in our code we have?
Yes, ma'am. So there's two separate things going on. The city of South Fulton is attempting to place certain building materials for the residential component, but be advised that the state is also working to restrict that. So we are working to have our own, but the state is also working to do something different. So that is correct that we are working. Yes, ma'am. That's correct.
Did we get a motion in a second?
We get a second.
All right, there's a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? That passes unanimously.
Okay, next item, item 23, second reading and adoption of text amendment TA-003 for convenience stores and service stations.
I'll accept the motion.
I move to approve the second reading for adoption of text amendment TA-003 for convenience stores and service stations.
Second.
It's properly moved. The second discussion.
Yeah, I have a question.
Ms. Willis, go ahead.
I know we have a couple of service stations. I'm not opposed to this. I guess I'm just kind of confused on what this one does. Service and gas station.
Okay, so this will be only in M1A, and as you know, your moratorium does not apply to your Fulton industrial area.
Oh, okay.
So this will only be a change. It's going to be a change overall once the moratorium is lifted, but for now, this is only allowing for the M1A of Fulton industrial. Be advised that you had an annexation take place that we're restricting that from happening on a gas station.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, let's vote, please. That passes unanimously.
Next item, item 24, second reading and adoption of text amendment TA-004 for party houses.
I'll entertain a motion.
I'd like to make a motion, a much-needed motion, to approve the second reading and adoption of text amendment for party houses TA-004. Second.
Properly moved and second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? That passes unanimously.
Next item, item 27, council approval resolution for gender-neutral terminology. Councilmember Gumbs.
Just to give a little bit of background on this, some of the information, some of the language that we adopted from Fulton County is, of course, antiquated. What we are looking forward to doing is making it gender neutral, meaning there is not a fireman or a policeman, is more a firefighter and police officer. So early on in my conversations with our new chief, this was something that he was looking forward to bringing forward to the council. So I do ask for your support in regards to this.
Properly moved and second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? That passes unanimously.
Okay, next item. This is the first reading, council approval to amend ordinance Title 8, Traffic and Vehicles, Vehicle Mobilization Services.
Oh, that's me.
I thought we said we weren't going to do the first reading.
We just read them in the record.
Yeah, just reading them in the record.
We are reading them in the record, but I would like to hold that item until the second meeting in January of 2020.
Go ahead.
Okay, next item, item 29, first reading. Council approval to amend ordinance Title 14, Environment, Chapter 6, Tree Preservation, expanding bond requirements. First read.
Next.
Item 31, first reading. Council approval to amend Title 3, Building Regulations, encouraging position community growth.
Next.
Mr. Chair, We actually had 2 items pulled from the consent agenda. Item 12, council acceptance of Fulton County Board of Elections, certified election results from the November 5th, 2019 elections.
I'll entertain a motion.
I'm going to make a motion to hold that to the January 14th meeting. Councilwoman Gilliard, who had an emergency, asked for that to be removed, and she's not here to speak on it.
Properly moved and second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? That passes unanimously.
Okay, and the last item on the agenda that was pulled from the consent agenda, item 17, council approval of authorizing the city manager to execute an agreement between the city of South Fulton and T. Dallas Smith and Company. Councilmember Gumbs.
I would like to make a motion to approve this.
Second.
Properly moved and second. Any discussion?
Yes.
I have discussion.
All right, Mr. Khalid.
I'm sorry. I'll let the lady who made the motion go first.
The discussion, I received some information from one of the council members that she was concerned in regards to the agreement that was placed in the packet, and asked for our city manager to speak to that as far as what the agreement is, and just to give some clarification on it. So just for that council person to be comfortable, however she's not here, but that was one of the requests of the council members.
So I guess the insight related to this, and I'll allow Mr. Warrior, who represents that firm along with Mr. Smith and others, to chime in. But the purpose is, you know, we, again, don't have the capacity related to some of these leases, acquisitions, et cetera, and it's not our specialty. The agreement is very similar to the ones that they have in other cities, but I think the caveat and the good benefit for us is that we don't provide, it does not impact our budget, it's revenue neutral. And so the agreement would mean that we wouldn't pay for those fees or anything up front to acquire the service, but on transactions, then they are paid in that manner. And again, it just gives them the opportunity to represent us and enter into agreements, pursue these acquisitions, et cetera, in ways that we can't, because not only do we not have the staff capacity, we don't have the overall expertise. And so I'll defer to Mr. Warrior from T. Dallas Smith and Company to discuss as appropriate.
In light of the time that we're at this evening, I think the last time we were with you, we gave a pretty exhaustive overview of our services, and a copy of that presentation is in your packet. It talks about the office, real estate services, industrial services, and at the end of the day, we're commercial real estate experts. That's all we do. That's all we've ever done in terms of our platform. Our company has over 150 years of collective expertise in handling commercial real estate matters. So anytime the city needs to look at, for example, developing a new city center, or leasing real estate, buying real estate, we would just be an extension of the city of South Fulton to help you facilitate those services. As was stated previously, we don't get paid for our services until you transact a transaction. So you would have to approve the transaction before we get paid anything at all, and that's how we work with our clients. We don't get paid until a client actually inks a deal. So we get paid on that transaction. So if you lease a space, the owner of that real estate, the landlord, pays our fee. They have funds set aside to pay broker transaction. They pay their listing broker, plus they pay whoever's buying the real estate, whoever's leasing the real estate, they pay that transaction fee at that particular time. So we don't get paid for our services along the way. And that's all we would narrowly be focusing on, is just the real estate that you as an entity, as City of South Fulton, were to acquire. We would represent you in that regard.
Okay.
And just so I'm clear, you did speak with our development authority. You presented, correct, in front of our development authority?
We have not presented from your development authority, to my knowledge. No, ma'am.
Okay. I thought I saw online that you all presented.
No, the only body that we've presented before is this body that's in front of us right now. We've not made any formal presentation to anybody else.
Okay. Are you finished, Mr. Khalid?
I am.
All right, Mr. Khalid.
Thank you, Councilwoman Gumbs. That was a perfect segue to why I think that we need to vote no or postpone this until 2019. Our City Development Authority deals with commercial real estate acquisition, and these people have not met with our City Development Authority. We currently have an active investigation about the undermining of our city development authority. We could have concluded the investigation tonight, but we didn't. And the hearing has been postponed. So I'm not sure that we should be entering into negotiations to hire commercial real estate brokers when we have multiple active investigations around commercial real estate. We've had a lot of conversations about rushing into things. I think before we negotiate anything with a new company, we need to get everything resolved with the staff and the institutions of our city as it is. I don't want to bring you into our mess, sir. So my motion, I'm sorry, it won't be a motion, but I will be voting no because I do believe wholeheartedly that we need to complete the business that we have at hand before we take on any new business.
May I respond to that, please?
No. So, point of clarification. So the development authority wouldn't actually acquire or manage leases on behalf of the city. That wouldn't be their responsibility. So as staff and the council would authorize us, an example would be negotiating the public safety facility that we've taken on, or if we were to change leases or renegotiate terms for City Hall, those types of activities is actually what they would do. They're completely separate from economic development activities. These are actually day-to-day operational activities that we do not have the capacity to coordinate. So I'm not going to tell you or advocate for you to vote yay, nay, or anything of that nature, but they are not along the same lines in any way, shape, or form.
Okay, so to be clear, you would be negotiating a contract for them to handle our leases only.
So your commercial acquisitions and things of that, so things that your city operationally would coordinate and take on. And it is not necessarily negotiating a contract, it is entering into an agreement with them because there is no cost associated for the city. And so what we would be doing is basically having a broker. So if you go out and buy a house, you pick a realtor. And so we're choosing a realtor to represent us. And I think the reason that this group was brought forward is because as a majority African American city doing business with African Americans, there's no better entity in the country that we could do business with. But the actual work that they would be doing, your city manager, while I think I've done a solid job at it, I'm not the negotiator for facilities and leases, et cetera, et cetera. And so since we don't have that capacity, we've found a sweetheart deal with the best and brightest African American firm that we brought back for your evaluation.
So let me have one conversation.
I have a question. I still have the floor. Is this a decision that must be made tonight? Is there a time-sensitive issue around a lease that we must make this decision tonight?
Well, so we do have the public safety piece that we brought back to you about entering in with Jacobs. So yes, that's one of them, and there are multiple other ones. I don't think that we should probably speak about it in open forum, but I think we've kind of talked about it and kicked it around for a couple of months. I don't know if it just means that we won't be able to move forward administratively. We don't have the capacity to make decisions on those things if we don't move forward on it. So if there are simple questions that you can satisfy tonight, then I would encourage you to do so. If you have more complex issues that need more time, then I guess you need more time to address them. I'll defer to the council on that. That's not an Odie Donald decision.
You called for the previous question. Second.
Second.
Could I ask? There's a call for the previous question. Been seconded. Let's vote on the issue of previous question. Nope. That passes. Now let's vote on the main issue, the main motion. What was the main motion? Say it again.
Main motion was to approve the authorized city manager to execute the agreement. It was motion by Gumbs, seconded by Willis.
Let's vote. All in favor? That passes 5-1. Am I correct? All right.
Mr. Mayor and Council, that completes all your agenda items.
I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Properly moved and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those in favor of adjourning?
We're not going to executive session.
Meeting adjourned.
We had to go back in
You
executive
better.
session.